Hello, hello. This is your Lieutenant Governor of the great state of New Jersey and the Secretary of State, Tahesha Way, and it is April. And in the month of April, we celebrate Volunteerism Month. So with me on this special episode, I have from my Department of State Office of Volunteerism, Madam Deputy Director Linda Rivera, and she has brought along with her three special guests. We will get to them in a moment, who will too give us some insight and awareness of all the good things that our volunteers do here in the Garden State. So Linda, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having us here. And let me take this time to introduce our colleagues here that are going to talk to you today about volunteerism and the world of volunteer engagement and civic engagement in New Jersey. We have John Santana. He is the Director of Strategic Partnerships and Operations at the United Way of Greater Mercer County. We have Michelle Francesconi, who is the Vice President of Capacity Building, Training, and Strategic Initiatives at the Volunteer Center of South Jersey and Jersey Cares. And we also have Caroline McFarland, who is one of our wonderful AmeriCorps members from the New Jersey Watershed Ambassadors Program. Thank you all for being with us today and for just showing out for volunteerism.
That's so true. So I'm going to turn my attention first to you, Linda, right? Because you've been involved with the Office of Volunteerism for years. And again, hats off and being and leading as a deputy director in this space. So New Jersey does have a long history of volunteerism. But how does the state collaborate with local organizations and volunteer centers to ensure that volunteer efforts are impactful and sustainable?
You know, New Jersey has been pretty forward-thinking when it comes to how it engages with our organizations and volunteer centers. We have different ways of providing grant opportunities and training, capacity building, everything that is needed in order to engage our volunteers out in the community. Some examples that we have the New Jersey Volunteer Generation Fund program. You know, that initiative brings together local governments, schools, nonprofits, corporate institutions, volunteers, all of this around the common goals of volunteer engagement, management, and sustainability. Along with that, we also have our AmeriCorps program, which, you know, we have an AmeriCorps member here, and our AmeriCorps Seniors program that allows our population of 55 and older to go out and volunteer in their community as well. So we try to be as collaborative and engaging with all of the agencies within the state, providing resources, capacity building, conferences, and even ways of recognizing our volunteers. So we try to do what we can, but it's our boots on the ground and our agencies and our volunteers and our AmeriCorps members that are really doing the wonderful things.
Yeah, and you just mentioned one word which is truly poignant: engaging, right?
Absolutely.
So how do you ensure that volunteers remain engaged and motivated to do the work, especially in terms of the long-term projects?
It's about involving them in that engagement, asking them questions, making them feel like they are a part of the mission of the agencies that they are volunteering with. Just going into an agency and, filing paperwork and saying, this is your volunteer opportunity, it's not as meaningful as saying, filing this paperwork will help this family achieve this house or achieve this anything that will help in the future. So just keeping the volunteers engaged and absolutely recognizing them for the efforts that they do. Having meaning, recognition, training builds capacity. Projects that they are really passionate about. That always engages a volunteer.
we've seen that more recently, since the pandemic, that volunteering is more than just a nice to have. So we have engaged a lot of our nonprofit agencies through Jersey Cares and the Volunteer Center. We do effective volunteer engagement training. So we're training the nonprofit. They're constantly saying, how do I get a good volunteer? And it's, let's take a look at your volunteer program and let's see how you're engaging them and realizing them that they are, more than just hands and feet, they're hearts and minds. So they're the people that, to help them engage better so that they'll come back. Because if a volunteer enjoys what they're doing, they're going to come back. It's really a simple.
Yeah, and I'm loving this because I think that the two of you are speaking about what is the meaning to the mission. And I know part of my responsibility in my capacity as Secretary of State, as chief election official, right, is trying to engage the electorate and making sure that they too understand the meaning behind the vote. No matter who you're voting for, whatever issue, that's not what, my role and responsibility is. And I know for you, ladies and gentlemen, being like the center of volunteerism, it doesn't matter where you come from. We just want you to engage and make certain that it remains in perpetuity. Now, Michelle, you mentioned, the partnerships with the nonprofits. And so did you, Linda. What I want to ask is, and going back to you, Linda, and if anyone else wants to chime in, feel free. How can the business community contribute to volunteerism in the state? And can you provide some successful examples?
Absolutely. A lot of our agencies actually work one-on-one and hand-on-hand with our business community. John actually has a wonderful example of event that they have every year that brings in that corporate community. John?
So the United Way of Greater Mercer has a food security initiative that we do every year. It's in our 11th year. It's called the Strike Out Hunger.
Okay.
It came out of, there was a group of volunteers from one of the corporate on Route 1 that wanted a project. So our director then of volunteerism reached out to the food pantry to find out if there was something that they could do to package foods. And it was during the summer months. The response that we received was, there's nothing on our pantries. Our pantries are empty. So this is not a good time. So the response from us was, well, then we need to fill those pantries. So then we turned it around and made it a food packing event. We have a partner that comes in and we have over 110 volunteers, and they're all corporate volunteers. So our corporations come in, they pay a sponsorship, and that sponsorship allows for a team from their corporation to come in and actually build these foods. So it's all the pieces of soup. So there's a powder and this and that, and they seal it and they put it to a box. And it's a fantastic opportunity to engage corporations. It's a real feel good, plus they're giving back immediately. So up till now, we've done over 1 million meals in the last 11 years. So it's providing, and our thing has grown to include fresh produce and partnerships with farms and stuff. And we have our corporate partners go to the farm to glean and to pick and to plant. So that is all part of that. And then we have another initiative where we do for education. So BMS, shout out to BMS, when they have their international meetings or their national meetings locally, whether it be here in Summit or in Madison, we provide them an opportunity to create a literacy kit. These literacy kits, they decorate and they put a book and there's activities and all these things. And then all that goes back to the community, to the nonprofits, to after school care. And sometimes kids, this is the first book that they ever receive in their life, which is really fantastic. So there's a couple of other things, but I think Michelle also has.
So at Jersey Cares, it's a very big part of what they do in our Livingston office. We've actually, the Volunteer Center of South Jersey merged with Jersey Cares right after the pandemic. So we cover the whole state now. But Jersey Cares in the north, and they are actually in Philadelphia, they're in New York. They do corporate projects. That is a big part of what those teams up there do, and they'll plan the day of service, a week of service. They'll plan everything from soup to nuts. The Jersey Cares team does, and literally the employees show up and have a great day, very impactful. They're enjoying what they're doing, and they're great projects. They're renovating schools. They're renovating playgrounds. I mean, they're just doing all kinds of great stuff that the employees enjoy. So that's how we get them involved.
And at the state level, we try to provide those resources to those corporate entities that are doing, their employees want to go out and do services. So we make sure to connect them to the volunteer centers. We are that resource at the state level, that connection for everyone. We are at the state, so we want to make sure that we have connections in all 21 counties.
Yeah.
So the corporate world, they are just as valuable as anyone else, and they enjoy volunteering.
I know. I have actually volunteered, even with one of my daughters at some of our food banks.
Yes.
And every time I volunteer at the food banks, interestingly so, the business community is there too with their staff for the day. So kudos to everyone who is involved and who understand the assignment behind all of this. Now,
Absolutely.
Linda, we know, right, that New Jersey has faced several natural disasters and crises in, recent years. Just a few. So how have volunteers been mobilized to assist in response and recovery?
There's a whole team to mobilize volunteers. But you know what? I'm gonna kick it to somebody who developed a volunteer program from scratch when we were going through COVID. Kicking it over to Michelle.
All right,
Thank
Michelle.
you so much. So here's what's so lovely is that the state of New Jersey includes us, right? They make us part of all of it. So during COVID, there were ESF 6 calls that we were on, and they are the state agencies as well as all the local agencies, the county government. They were all there, plus all the faith-based, all the nonprofits, all of us. We were all included on these calls. And the one biggest thing at the very height of it when it first started was that seniors could not go out and get food because they were scared to go out. We weren't allowed to go out. The only thing we were really allowed to do was shop. And, they were saying they need the food. We don't know how to get their shopping done. They don't know how to use the apps. They're not technology. They couldn't get in there to do it. So we hung up from the call, and Brian Dean, our CEO, said, "What do you think? You think we can do something?" I'm like, "Absolutely. We're going to do a senior shopper program." And that's what we created. Well, at that time, we had tons of volunteers because everyone was home. They were able to go out shopping. And I had remembered I had a connection in Philadelphia that did app development. So we actually developed an app that had geo that a volunteer could look at that and say, what's closest to me? I'll pick up this order. And then, it was all done through there. We did copy off of Amazon because we made them take pictures of the groceries at the door so that we could reimburse them. Those volunteers were putting their money out first, and then we reimbursed them once the order was delivered. But it was very successful for 2 years. Ocean County was the one that had the most because it's a very big senior population there.
Yes.
And it was just amazing. And that was all developed within a month. So from March, let's just say 21st.
It was all developed because of the need, and all developed as well because of the Volunteer Generation Fund program, which was a grant program that they had received to engage volunteers, to develop volunteer strategies, all of the above. So we're very proud.
It was a great program.
I'm telling you, it's amazing because I remember especially Rowena Madden's shop,
Yes.
Linda, your shop, and the amazing things, the creative things that volunteerism was doing. And, I often get asked the question, especially of students, how do I become, an elected government official, etc.? And I always say to them, you know what? Elected governmental appointed officials, it's good because that's what, the gist of it is to publicly serve others. I said, but you can volunteer too and give up your time and resources to affect and change and impact others. And that's what each and every one of you sitting at this table have done. And we thank you. So I'm going to turn to Caroline, get you into the conversation here. Now, Caroline, speaking of that, What inspired you to get involved in volunteering, and what drives you to continue giving your time to others?
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. So yes, I have to say, starting with my college education, my undergraduate education, I went to Drexel University in Philadelphia. Thank you. And they still have an amazing civic engagement department. So it's the Lindy Center for Civic Engagement. I was actually able to fulfill my work study. So, contributing a little bit money to my college education while volunteering. And that is where I got my start, where I still look back on those days and I see my drive. And I started with the Philadelphia Community Access Media. So I had a chance to start my career right then and there. And then I moved along to the Philadelphia Animal Welfare Society. So coming into, my love for animals and all of that. And yes. And it was the best few years of my life. And that's what led me, I started thinking of AmeriCorps at that time. I did go on and I continued my education. I got my master's degree. And then when I came back, I said, I've always wanted to do AmeriCorps. Let's find a program. And I came across the AmeriCorps New Jersey Watershed Ambassadors Program. That is the program I am in here today. This is actually my second term of service.
Well,
and
thank you.
Thank you. I am forever grateful for this program. I was looking for a way to give back to my home communities of Monmouth and Ocean counties, but also a way to get that tangible environmental experience. And that is what this program has done. I see, the drive to gain environmental experience, but truly give back to my community. We do everything from environmental education in schools to freshwater stream assessments. So I go into streams and I conduct habitat and biological assessments, and I send my data to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, who I serve with. So it is an amazing program, and just knowing that I can give back to my community because of the living stipend that AmeriCorps provides for us, that is what gives me my drive, knowing I can give back.
Well, thank you, Carolyn, for all you're doing. And I just love this story. And a little story on my behalf is, it's take your child to work day. Mm-hmm. So we just finished up, my 10-year-old and me, at the planetarium. There's a reason why I'm bringing this up. And I believe the show is called Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, I love them.
Oh, yes. And so part of it spoke to environmentalism in our ecosystem and how important it is for all of the humans, right, to understand and become aware of, safeguarding our ecosystem and the environment. So again, thank you so much, Carolyn. Now, let me also ask you, and of course, everyone else can chime in. I know we were speaking about, making sure that everyone is aware of the greatness of volunteerism. But see, I want to ask you this question. When y'all with your friends, right? Because I know, I'm a dance mom. And when I'm with my fellow dance moms, sometimes I talk about, what I do and try to encourage them, to get involved in different areas, maybe vote. So, so how do you encourage your friends, your peers, your families, to also engage in volunteering too?
Absolutely. I guess I will get started with that one. Sure. Yes. So, yes, I have found the best way to encourage my friends and peers to get involved is to really make it personal and inviting, right? As it always should be. But a lot of people want to help, but they don't necessarily know where to start, right? Exactly. Or worry that they don't have time in their busy schedules, right? So I'll say, hey, I'm doing this cleanup on Saturday. Want to come and hang out with me, but help out, right? Framing it as something social and low pressure really does help. And I also try to share those positive moments, right? Whether it's a photo from a project or a quick story about something that happened at that project, just to show how rewarding it really can be when everyone gets involved. Once people see the impact that they can have, and that, volunteering doesn't have to be a big production. They're usually pretty excited to come out with me and do it again, right?
Right. Something even small, minute as collecting food or something. It's about creating an experience so that it doesn't feel like they're doing work. Or sometimes it's as simple as it's something that's personally touching. So I have a friend of mine who has lupus, and she would encourage us every year to join her in a lupus walk. So that piece was a personal piece, and it was easy for us to say yes. And then again, it's just about making it an experience. So it's not just, oh, come out and give me some hours. No, let's hang out, like you were saying. Let's hang out. Let's spend some time together, because it's not always just about the project that's being done. It's an opportunity for conversation and networking and all of that at the same time. So there is benefit beyond the hour or so that you're going to give to that experience.
I agree with John, and it is that personal experience. And a funny story with our office, again, we have the New Jersey State Governor's Volunteerism Awards that happens every year, and yay! And the coordinator, shout out to Heather, she brings her family along to volunteer. Her brother is playing an instrument, and her mom is at registration, and my dad is over here moving boxes. Like, we do make it a family event, in even though, it's that personal connection, like John said. And I've brought friends to our MLK Commission events, and they're putting certificates in frames, and, the little detail things but we're having a blast, and we're chit-chatting, and there might be music in the background, but it's a really great way to get them into the thought of volunteerism. And, it just works.
I tell you, this has been such a great conversation. And I, again, want to thank each and every one of you for all that you do and what you will continue to do here in the great state of New Jersey. But before we leave, right, if you can just, let our audience know what's the best way for them to find opportunities to make a difference in their communities.
Absolutely. You know what? Right on our state website, www.volunteerism.nj.gov. We actually have a program that leads to all of our volunteer centers. It's our Galaxy Digital program, and they can find volunteer opportunities throughout the entire state. We also have a newsletter, and they can sign up right from our website as well. So we have lots of ways to provide resources, and you can contact us at any time. We want to make sure that you're out there enjoying and volunteering and really giving back to the community.
John and Michelle?
Well, so we use the Galaxy Digital as well in our website, uwgmc.org. You can tap in through there. Really, that's an opportunity, that Galaxy Digital site. So for any of the listeners, if you're a nonprofit that is not connected, connect through there to your local Galaxy Digital, because it's an opportunity for all those local nonprofits to upload their volunteer opportunities. So the more opportunities are available on those sites, the more opportunities are and networks as well. So when I go out to corporate America and give presentations, I let them know about this site and have them sign up and let them know that there's all these opportunities. And by signing up, you can actually know. So if they want something about with seniors or with kids or whatever, it'll let them know that a new opportunity has come in, so they can go back to the site to sign up for that opportunity.
Yeah, that site is actually, it's called Get Connected. It's by Galaxy Digital is the software provider, but we also have it in South Jersey. We have that platform, and we have in North Jersey, they have a different platform, but it's jerseycares.org or sjvolunteers.org. But what's really nice is, like Linda and John were saying, is that this platform, we all have it, so we're able to kind of funnel into the state website. And then wherever people find opportunities, it'll drill down and take them right to our sites. So that's a lovely, that's really nice. And that's is what we like about being in New Jersey. Let me just put that out there. Because, they listen. Linda's office, Linda's always been our cheerleader and taking care of us. So we want to Chang and Rose.
Rose are fearless leaders.
100%. They are always taking care of us and making sure that we are connected to
Absolutely.
everyone in our community. So we love
It's
that.
my personal goal to get that 1.9 million higher and higher every year.
I hear you.
Higher and higher.
Well, we're going to shout out Roe in absentia. Again, I want to thank each and every one of you listeners. This was good information, and you now know where to go to volunteer. Let's make a difference. Thank you so much.